Hello world, Shelly here, and it is Foundation Fest Day 3, where I do 5 days in a row of foundation reviews, and today we're just gonna go back and forth, like little high-end, little drugstore, little high-end, little drugstore. We're gonna hit the high-end, and this one I got a sample of. It is the new Marc Jacobs Shameless Youthful Wear 24-Hour Invisible SPF Foundation, and you ever do that thing where like Sephora has a little gift with purchase or a special sample and you place an order just for that? That's what I did because they had a light version. You had your choice of colors. And this is light yellow 210, Y210, which is light with yellow undertones. Now I usually fall on the fair end of the spectrum, so this might be a little too dark. I usually prefer cool undertones, but technically I am neutral with either slightly cool or slightly light undertones, depending what time of year it is. And really, I feel like I am kind of almost leaning warm-toned right now. So I did wear a warm-toned shirt just to hopefully make this not look ridiculous on me. And I'm also wearing a bleach tie-dye shirt. I finally filmed that for you guys, how to do bleach tie-dye. That should go up next week, so hold on to your horses for that. Let's check out some of the claims of this Marc Jacobs foundation. I don't have the full bottle, I just have this little sample, but if I had the full bottle, it retails for $46. You get 1.08 fluid ounces of product, so you get a little bit more than the typical standard fluid ounce. It comes in 29 shades, so a pretty good selection, not the best in the world. Right now it's getting a 3.4 out of 5 stars with about 70 reviews on Sephora's website. It is described as medium coverage for sensitive, normal, dry, combo, and oily skin, so basically everybody. SPF 25, it's a natural finish, an innovative, medium buildable foundation with 24-hour wear and first to market flashback-free SPF 25 for a youthful look. So we're gonna have to try that out. Clinically tested for 24 hours of wear. I'm not gonna try that out. Innovative SPF, undetectable, no flashback, weightless, buildable medium coverage, blends seamlessly. Yeah. Here's an interesting bit. Shameless liquid foundation also beautifies from the inside out with skincare benefits, including phenomenal hydration. It contains snow mushroom, which is known for its impressive ability to hold on to water. It's like nature's dupe for hyaluronic acid. Also contains blue daisy extract, known to visibly diminish the complexion dulling effects of pollution. Together they help your skin look hydrated, plumped, and more youthful. Go ahead, show off your skin shamelessly. That all sounds friggin' wonderful to me. I've got generally pretty dehydrated skin, although I am having a really pretty doggone good skin week right now. Yay, weather not being terrible. So let's take a look at some swatches, see how this Marc Jacobs Shameless compares to some others in my collection. Alrighty, let's swatch. I grabbed some of my warmer toned foundations today. First up is today's foundation, the Marc Jacobs Shameless in shade Y210. Second is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in shade 3. Third up, I've got the IT Cosmetics CC Plus Cream in shade Fair. Fourth is the Too Faced Born This Way Foundation in shade Porcelain. And last up is the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Hydrating Foundation in shade 2.1. I've already cleansed, moisturized, sunscreened this mug. We're starting out with a 43-year-old face here. I have some sunspots and sun damage that I like to cover up. I've got large pores that make themselves known right around here, right on my chin, right in the middle of my forehead. Got some fine lines forming on the forehead, or smile lines. The beginnings of crow's feet happening here, so that is what this foundation has to contend with. They made a lot of claims in there about hydration, so my hope is that by the end of the day, my skin is feeling just as hydrated as it is right now, because it's feeling pretty doggone good right now. In theory, it should feel just as good at the end of the night. I will go in as usual on one side with a sponge. This is my EcoTools Total Perfecting Blender Sponge. It gets I just washed it, I swear. It gets super bright green when I get it damp. I don't know why, whatever. And on the other side of my face, I'm going to use a brush. This is my new fave, the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I have primed my face with the Strivectin Anti-Wrinkle Line Blur Factor, which is like freaking magic. I'm reading the suggested usage on Sephora's website. If you want a sheerer, dewy finish, use a damp beauty sponge. And for shameless skin, apply evenly all over so you get the skincare SPF benefits. And then build coverage only where you need it using a pat and pull motion with the flat side of a brush. Alrighty, consistency check. Pretty thick. Oh my goodness, I've got fingerprints and all kinds of good stuff on my palette right now. I would work quickly with this one. It seems a little bit resistant to move from the spot where I put it down once it's been sitting there for a few seconds. Like they said, I would say this is coming out to be pretty sheer with the sponge. It is evening out redness a bit. Definitely sheer on the coverage though. Let's try the brush side. Let's pat first, then pull. This is going on kind of patchy with the brush. Like I'm having trouble keeping coverage on my cheek here, and parts look heavy on my forehead and parts look like there's hardly any product at all. It really doesn't like to blend out. It's kind of tough to blend. It sticks right where you put it down. I think you do get a little bit more coverage with the brush. I'm not in love with the finish right now. Let's see if we can build it to that medium sort of coverage that they mentioned. I do not like the finish at all with the brush. It's really cakey in the center of my forehead. Oh, goodness gracious, wow. All the coverage is just disappearing. I'll be less vigorous with my pouncing and see if this helps. Still disappearing. Do you guys see how it just won't stay in the center of my forehead? We are not off to a very good start here. I feel like some spots won't hold product at all. The bridge of my nose looks like I just forgot to put foundation on it, but I assure you I've put product on it multiple times and it just won't stay in place. Yet you move slightly to the side and it looks like I have a ton of product that I haven't blended out. It's just sitting on top of my skin. And again, I assure you I have blended it out. It is just sitting really heavy in the center of my forehead and between my eyebrows. It refuses to blend out, but then there's a little stripe of pink where it refuses to stay on my skin. It looks a little bit heavy in terms of sitting on top of the skin over here on my cheeks, and it's just patchy and clinging strangely to, not to dry patches, but just to areas of my face that it seems to just want to cling to. I don't really know why. I can say that my first impression is that I don't really like it. It's accentuating, ooh, see when I smile? It's accentuating these pores right here. See these? Look at all those dots in my face. It's not settling into them, but they're all out to play. It is not smoothing texture at all. My cheeks still feel like I can see the sort of crepiness that's forming on my skin. Not settling into lines just yet, but I don't know about this one, guys. Let's check the time. Let's call the check-in time 2 p.m. It is 1:54 right now. I'm going to go put the rest of my face on, and I will be right back. Okay, guys, I don't usually do this, but I don't have to go to work today. So I'm going to wash this whole face off and try a different primer. This is so bad that I'm going to wash my face off and we'll try a different primer. All right, let's go with the old Too Faced Hangover. 3-in-1. Woo! Try a different brush too. We'll be all bougie. I got my Wayne Goss brush here. This is the 01. They say for medium coverage to use a brush, so let's use a brush and let's only do a little bit of the face at one time. It's a little easier to blend than it was before, but I already see it caking up right where it was caking up before. You see it right, there's a ton of product on my nose right now. It's still disappearing! What the hell? Oh, damn it. Okay, round 2. I still feel like I can't get coverage on my chin or my nose. I still feel like there's a bare spot here that doesn't want to hold any product. I feel like there's a ton of product that just wants to sit right here. I feel like it's still caking in between my brows. Crud. Oh, my nose looks even worse. Can I fix it with the sponge? So the sponge has a nicer finish, but it just picks up the product that doesn't want to stay in place. So you get a patchy result because it just starts to disappear in certain spots. It's like there's just certain spots where it doesn't want to stay put. I think this is as good as we are gonna get. Let me zoom you guys in one more time. See how we still have product just kind of hanging out right around here? And I still have basically the bridge of my nose does not have coverage. The pink is all shining through. Chin still has pink going on. It still looks textured along my cheek. Pores. Still screaming. Center of the forehead. Still gross. I think it's slightly better with the Wayne Goss brush versus the e.l.f. brush, but rest of the face will go back on. What's the new check-in time? 2:10. I'm back. Who dat wearing all the warm tones? What's up? Had to make this yellow not look strange, and I think I pulled it off. I don't think I look strange. I look like I'm having kind of a bad makeup day, but I don't look like I'm strange. I don't know if I look strange. Let's just talk about this foundation. No improvement, and some things don't blend well with it. The combination of concealer, I'm wearing the all-nighter from Urban Decay, which has been working well for me. You can probably tell, do you see how like right here, there's a spot of concealer that wouldn't blend into the foundation, and then the combination of the two wouldn't take bronzer. Do you see how my bronzer has this divot in it? Like, I bronzed all the way up like I normally do, and I've got this divot where bronzer wouldn't blend on top of it, which is weird. I did not set this with a powder. It claims to set itself down, and it did. It's very lightweight. It almost feels like nothing. Like, it's a really, really lightweight foundation, but it's still caking and losing coverage in the spots where it originally was. I did have a little bit of trouble with my blush moving the foundation around. I'm wearing the Physicians Formula Butter Blush, and you can kind of see where I lost coverage right around here, because as I was brushing my blush on, it was just moving the foundation. So that didn't go so well. Otherwise, you know, nothing really has changed. It's not settling into lines. It actually, on some of my forehead lines, a couple of them almost looks like it plastered over them, which, that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's still accentuating my pores and my texture on my cheeks, my lower cheeks especially, but so we're kind of where we started out. Nothing really has changed. Nothing has gotten better. Nothing has gotten terribly worse. So let's talk about what's on the rest of my face. My highlight is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow. This is in Precious Petals, and you know, I had to kind of go ham on the highlight because I was like, I need to distract people away from looking at like the areas of my face that look terrible. So I did a whole lot of highlighting. Glam Bronze, of course, for my bronzer. On my eyes, I tried out for the first time the Violet Voss Rainbow Palette, and I'm using the peach shade here. And I just want to point out, if you follow me on Snap, you already saw me complain about this. See this shade right here? The one called Sea Form. This one? Come on now. Tell me that wasn't supposed to say Sea Foam. The one that's like sea foam colored. A typo in my eyeshadow palette. Like, really? Are you kidding me right now? Sea Form. Anyway, so I'm wearing that peachy shade, and I mixed it with the Carity Mattes palette. They actually go really, really nicely together in their color schemes. Mascara, I just have to point out, every time I whip out the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir, I'm like, doggone, that is why it's my favorite mascara. Now, this is 2 coats of this mascara. It's friggin' gorgeous. I love this mascara. I have nothing against Marc Jacobs as a brand. I just am not enjoying this particular foundation. I did have a little bit of trouble with the Remarkable foundation. It wasn't as bad as this is. I will link that review for you guys if you haven't seen it, but that's where we're at. And the lip, I'm trying for the first time the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip. For some reason, I thought this was going to be glossy. Velvet finish. So then it started to dry down, and I was like, what is happening? Anyway, this is the shade All Natural Nude, and I kind of like it. Dried down beautifully, doesn't feel drying, at least not yet, and it's not sticky at all. I do have a little bit of highlighter on my lipstick. Seriously, I went ham on the highlight. Detract from the bad, emphasize the good. So, almost forgot I wanted to do a flash test, so let's do this. I've got no SPF on my face right now. I washed my face. I used non-SPF primer. Doesn't it look kind of white casty to you? Let's do this. I feel like I do kind of have some flashback. What do you guys think? So I'm going to turn off my ring light so we don't have like total overexposure going on. And this is the 3rd time I've done this, you guys, because I thought, that looks horrible. That does not look good, you guys. Look at all the... I'm giving this too many chances. I'm just giving this foundation too many chances. I will see you guys in a bit. Okie dokie smoky, the time is 10:31 p.m. and that means we are just past the 8-hour mark with the Marc Jacobs Shameless Foundation. I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple moments throughout the day where I was like, this should be called shameful. But on the other hand, there was never a point in the day where I looked in the mirror at a distance and thought I looked awful. So I think because this has a decent shade range, because I never looked completely awful, it's a little better than my first impressions. Let's take a look up close. So the areas that were lacking coverage to begin with are, of course, still lacking coverage. On the upside, this never did settle into my smile lines or my forehead lines. It settled minimally into my chin lines, and I would say that's impressive if you are dealing with fine lines, wrinkles, that sort of thing. I don't think it did any favors for texture or blurring pores. It is wearing off evenly in the sense that my nose, for example, it is wearing off around my nose, but it really doesn't look very bad at this point. Being only the 8-hour mark and claiming a 24-hour foundation, I do not think there's any way that that is possible that it would make 24 hours without wear. But overall, I don't think it looked any worse than it did when we started, and it might look a little bit better as it sort of warmed up to my skin and settled down. I think parts that looked cakey still look a little bit heavy, but they don't look as bad as they did. Now, one thing in terms of comfort, this is super duper lightweight, very comfortable to wear until I got around the 7-hour mark, and now I'm starting to feel really dry. I'm getting the sort of drag lines across my face. It means my skin is getting dehydrated, and I was really nicely hydrated when I started this morning. So for a foundation that claims to maintain moisture and that sort of thing, I don't think that's necessarily true. It's not super dry out right now. It was rainy all day and it's in the 60s, so it's not very cold here right now. So I don't think this is weather-related dehydration. I've been drinking my water and my tea. I think it is the foundation. So if I had to give a grade to the Marc Jacobs Shameless, it's a tough one. I'm gonna go... Hey guys, I am busting in here during editing to say that I am revising my grade after suffering through editing the misery that was trying to get this foundation to work for me and seeing it up close on the screen with the HD zoomed in versions of the close-ups and seeing just how many of the claims of this foundation did not hold true on my skin. I'm giving it an F. Oh, I feel better now. I feel like the shade range is decent. The potential here, it's a really finicky foundation, but I think there is potential to make it work since it did work a little bit better when I modified what I was wearing underneath it, or basically removed everything I was wearing underneath it for the most part. So I think it's probably finicky. It's probably one of those foundations that you're going to want to get a sample of before you commit to purchasing it. I'm glad that I was able to use a sample and not purchase it, because it's one of those foundations I probably would return because I don't see myself reaching for it. There you have it. Foundation Fest Day 3 is in the books. If you like foundation reviews and you would like to see more of them, give me a thumbs up down below. Am I talking really slow in this video? Why do I feel like I'm talking really slow? Where was I? 40. My brain. There you have it. Thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. If you've got suggestions for foundations you'd like me to check out, leave them down in the comments below. Visit my website, geekoutofwater.com. Click the Foundation Fest link. I've got a ranked, searchable, sortable spreadsheet of all of my foundation reviews and the data that goes along with them. These Foundation Fest reviews are going to be posted after Foundation Fest is done because I don't want to spoil anything that's upcoming and upload them all now. So hang in there. They'll be up there in about a week. on the spreadsheet, but all my other reviews, there's 70 or so of them at this point, are on the spreadsheet, geekoutofwater.com. And yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.